Hello, I'm Eli.
And I am Ashton.
It's May 13th, and we're making a video about childhood or pre-puberty experiences of transness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start off, and we'll, dialogue back and forth about it.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up in the 90s, trans pretty much wasn't a thing. I mean, I live in Ohio, so we're kind of not really hip to the jive.
Yeah, by the way, I just said same in sign language. So.
Yeah. So I didn't have a word for trans or really any trans role models or even an understanding
of the concept.
Of the concept, really. Growing up, I mean, gay really wasn't a thing. Wasn't a thing you could be and still have your family around you anyway. So it was. So it wasn't really until I'd gotten out of high school that I actually had a word for trans. But growing up, it definitely was an interesting experience because, I mean, I fit into the traditional, I guess, tomboy mold or whatever. Like, I ran around with the neighborhood boys, and my best friends pretty much before I got into school, were boys, and so the friends that I actually chose for myself were boys. And then once I got into school, and immediately it was like in kindergarten, you're paired off with the girl, not paired off, but you're lumped in with the girls, and you're not allowed to play like football or rough house or whatever.
Yeah, 'cause you would have been the kind of guy that would want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, but it also, there was another thing holding me back, is that I'm also from a very large family. And very large Catholic family.
There we go.
So I already had the role models of my sisters to follow, and I knew that I was supposed to follow in their footsteps, sort of. But at the same time, I knew that I was supposed to be my own person, do my own thing, and I was kind of a rebellious child anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as much as I could be. I didn't like getting my hair brushed. I didn't like wearing dresses. I didn't like putting on shoes, especially during the summer. I loved running around barefoot. So, yeah. But that was all okay to a certain extent because I was a tomboy. Mm-hmm. But I do remember one experience. This was before I went into kindergarten, so before I was 5 years old. I'm telling my dad that I wanted to be a boy, and he asked me why, and I didn't really have an answer beyond just that gut feeling of, this is what I'm supposed to be, this is what works for me. So yeah, I mean, there was another thing, there was also my own personal family culture of really wanting to fit in. I remember, my dad used to read us books all the time, which was really cool. And he was, reading us grown-up books. It wasn't no Fox and Socks or Dr. Seuss stuff. He was reading us, Canticle for Leibowitz, which is a really awesome classic sci-fi book. And, Have Spacesuit Will Travel, and some other really cool books. Because he was kind of a sci-fi nerd. Still is.
That's where you get it.
Oh, yeah. And I remember faking being able to read because everybody else could read in my family, and I wanted to fit in really badly. I remember actually once I started school, I was really excited to get my first pair of glasses, and I got my first pair of glasses in I think the summer between 2nd and 3rd grade, and I was really excited because then I looked more like I fit in with my family because everyone in my family has glasses. And I mean, it was just a desperate need to fit in that kind of because I knew I didn't. Because I knew I was different and something wasn't clicking, so I needed to actually work at it a lot more. I felt I needed to work at it more than the other people around me. So, I mean, that pretty much, that both longing to fit in, but knowing that I won't, and rebelling against the status quo, really, those are the two defining motivations, more like characteristics for me growing up, like pre-puberty. So yeah, that's me.
Okay. For me, I remember like one of my very first like trans-related memories is of this outfit that I had, and it was a Mickey Mouse tank top and some cargo shorts. They were gray, to be specific. That's how well I remember. And some like tan boots. And I actually wore those boots for longer than I ever should have. Because I loved them so much, because boys wear boots, you know? But in that, I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, I know, I'm a good looking boy, even though I had long hair. Which I never had short hair until I was in my teens. But pretty much around like that age, it was probably like when I was like 6 years old. I also ended up running into a questionable figure in the park, whom me and my sister would talk to. In retrospect, he was a pedophile. He never touched anybody. But he basically he educated us on sex and the difference between the genders. And since me and my sister, which this sister is my Irish twin, the one that talked to him with me, she and I would take showers together, because again, like Irish twin, you're less than a year apart. Like, what do? You put the two that are closest to the age, get one shower in the span of, for 2 kids.
It's easier for the parents to bathe 2 kids at once instead of 2 kids separately.
So, I mean, like, I never really saw my sister's junk, but I could tell that, like, both of us had nothing there. And, he educated us that men do have something there. And, to actually see if he was right, I pantsed my brother once. And he was, correct.
Had some
also
dingle
air
dangle.
quotes there. About, my brother, obviously, yeah, he had the dangle there, but, the quotes for the guy being correct. So basically, for a long time, my thoughts of being able to be a man were shattered. But I was also your typical tomboy. I wouldn't have ever wanted to play in sports. And I actually had a lot of male friends growing up in, like, elementary school. And by a lot, I mean, like, I've never really had much friends, but I had at least 2 guy friends at all times throughout elementary school. I think I hung out with, like, 1 chick. But it's very much like insects and dirt and riding bicycles. But then, I mean, I don't really know.
Well, it's just really hard to explain that sort of, like, not brainwashing, but severe societal pressure to conform Like, that's basically really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I knew in my heart of hearts that what was going on, what people were telling me, wasn't true. But because everyone was telling me this specific thing, that I am a girl, that I am supposed to act like a girl, that I'm supposed to want what girls want, I made up crushes that were gender appropriate. Like I was best friends with a couple of guys, and I pretended that I had a crush on one of them to the girls in the class because I didn't know what else to do, and I was supposed to want this thing. But there's nothing.
That also actually reminds me, like, I worked out a lot as a kid, too. So it's like, even though I knew I was supposed to be female, I still, in a way, tried to masculinize my body.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I tried to make my own lat pull-down machine on the monkey bars. I almost got there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I actually had the setup.
Pull-ups on them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. Tons of fun.
Tons of fun. I think we got a little bit off topic, though.
Yeah, so... yeah. But
those are things to keep in mind.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna do another video about actual, like, post-puberty, well, puberty and post-puberty experiences, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's it for this video, though, so, okay, goodbye!
Okay, goodbye!